We'll try to get more details. The thinking of those who were in that meeting, the leaders of the PDP who were in Port Harcourt, how they arrived at their decision. They've made it known that they do not want Mr. Ayu, but saying that they will not participate in the presidential campaign. What does this mean? What is the implication? What is the way forward for the PDP? I have one of the leaders there. In fact, it's a man who spoke on behalf of everyone yesterday, a member of the Board of Trustees of the PDP, Chief Bode George. He joins us live from Ikoyi area of Lagos. Chief Bode George, many thanks for joining us tonight. It must have been a very, thank you so much. It's good to see you. Always. It must have been a very busy and a very, very, troubled time for your party, considering what is going on. Very, very unusual, because you're going into an election and this kind of thing is happening. Now, we want to know what is on the minds of everyone who started there. Was it unanimous? How did you arrive at a boycott of a presidential primaries? Or, apologies, or the presidential campaign of your party?
Okay. Thank you very much. Right. Thank you very much. This is the beauty of democracy. You know, when we met yesterday, we looked at the prevailing issues affecting our party to date. We have in attendance very few of those who were original members of the founding fathers. There are few of them. And then because certain tenets of our party are not written, it is what you call oral history. People are coming up and manipulating this oral history to suit their ambition. And we realized that there was need in the future that all those oral history, the tenets, the procedures, the norm, the culture of the party must be well written for future generations to benefit. Having said that, listening to the position of our candidate, I would say it's rather very unfortunate. The same party gave him this ticket, bypassing the same section of the Constitution he is quoting. Members of our party can go back and recheck it. Section 7, subsection 3C of the Constitution, the PDP Constitution, states very clearly that we must adhere to the zoning and rotation of the party offices and elective offices of this country. When we met, the first committee that met, the zoning committee, only handled the zonal, the party offices without the elective offices. So for 6 months, forms had been sold to people, people have bought, they've been campaigning, all over. And they knew. We had a meeting of NEC, and we realized that there was some kind of a gap. Because once you start zoning party offices, simultaneously, you must zone elective offices. And our brothers, we had a meeting, the same Iyocha Ayu set up a revisitation committee to look at this zoning report. At that meeting, the very first day was quite stormy. Some were saying there was no need for any zoning. We should just go ahead and do whatever was needful. And we reminded them of the section 7, subsection 3C, that is still in writing, that we must adhere to the zoning and rotation of principal offices including the party offices. You have zoned the party offices without the elective offices. There was a misnomer there. We cited it. He ended up in a fiasco the first day of the meeting. Consequent meetings, then there was some kind of sanity. People realized that we were not just talking off the shop. They now decided that, look, okay, how can we, if a mistake was made 6 months ago, you have allowed people to do A, B, C, D. This is not the time to now start zoning without considering those people who had paid for the forms, who had been campaigning for the forms, and purely on moral suasion purposes. And because of the camaraderie in a family, we went back with the report that, one, there must, from now on, before the commencement of sales of forms, we must zone the party positions and the elective positions. But because of the observation at this occasion, we will allow it to go, and that's how they allowed all the various zones to participate in the presidential primaries. The Constitution is still there. And because of that mistake that was made, which is impacting the party now, rationally, if you know the tenets of the party, which I have stated severally on the media, the presidential candidate and the national chairman of the party cannot come from the same zone, because inclusivity would have been thrown overboard. The president from the north, vice president must come from the south, senate president from the north, speakership must come from the south, secretary to government from the north, national chairman from the south. So 3 up, 3 down. After 8 years, what you needed to do, all the 3 positions in the north will come to the south, and all the 3 positions in the south will come to the north. Now, when we now start thinking about the issue of constitutionality, how did our candidate emerge? The same constitution. Because what you are driving at now is that the pure sensitivity of North-South, which was addressed by our founding fathers, is now being discarded. And as long as you do that, you are exacerbating the already prevailing crisis of North-South in this country. We don't want that. PDP is the only political party that is absolutely national in its outlook, and in its behavior. So, telling us that, no, we do not, we will be violating the Constitution. But we did that to suit his own emergence. So what is good for the goose is definitely good for the gander. And talking about the meeting yesterday, we looked at it. A list of the new campaign council has been released. We found out that many of those people who have been canvassing, that we should have a real look at this to bring about the issue of inclusivity. The practice in the past was, in every state you have leaders or you have governors, and you consult them before you start submitting names for national campaign. If you look at the structure of the national campaign the way it is, everybody on that table, none of them was consulted. So if you want half house, so be it.
So, Chief Judge,
if you want a full house, so be it. And we said, so was I consulted for nomination from Lagos State? Was all the other people, were they consulted? So if you want to do it on your own, good luck to you. And those are the things that we noticed. And we now decided that, look, if they don't want us to participate in the national campaign, then we must go back to the public and let them know. You know, very simply put, if you look at the issues we have raised, this issue of inclusivity, that's that sense of oneness. Our candidate has this onus. He says he's a unifier. If we cannot unify our party at this small level, what is the guarantee that when he gets there, he will be ready to unify this country? Otherwise, you'll be talking about.
All right, Chief George. Yeah. So let me hop in quickly. Yeah. I have a long list of questions here, which I'd like you to help me address quickly on the problem. So one of it is, you look at the campaign council. Yeah. It's being chaired by someone from the south. That's the governor of Akwa Ibom State, Governor Udom. Yes. Now, you look at Senator Wabara, who has now emerged as the interim or the acting chairman of the BOT, which you're a member of that committee in the party, perhaps the second or the third highest organ of the party. For some of those who think these are concessions in the issue of inclusivity, for you at that meeting, you think this is not enough?
Okay. Now, Shehu, let me try and explain. You know, for those who are not party members, and because this is oral history, I will have to give you the details of how we came about the 6 geopolitical zones in this country and the 6 top positions in this country. Now, when in 1998 the founding fathers came together, they looked at what had been a pervading problem of our country. Why did the First Republic collapse? Simply put, it was as a result of perpetual friction. You know, in those days, in the North, you had the majority party, the majority tribe, had their way and their say. And the minority tribe were mere onlookers. The same thing in the South. The majority tribe had their way, the minority tribes were mere onlookers. It created friction because the Almighty God did not just give majority tribe, minority tribe, and gave brains, knowledge, and wisdom to the majority tribe. He distributed this knowledge and this wisdom as he pleases. So if people were to just be present and be looking like mere zombies, it created so much friction that led to the collapse of the First Republic, the Second Republic. So when they met in 1998, they said to themselves, what can we do to ensure that we move away from this misconception and that we don't want these military boys back in government? That's how they sat down and divided Nigeria into 6 geopolitical zones. You know, this is merely our party concept. It's not in the national constitution, but it is a very workable arrangement. Northwest, North Central, Northeast, Southwest, Southeast, South-South. And so we had 6 geopolitical zones. And then they came up with the 6 top positions in the land: the president, the vice president, Senate president, speaker, secretary to government, and national chairman. They linked the legislative arm with the executive arm and the party. So these are the 6 top positions in the country. So if you are going to talk about, chairman of board of trustee or campaign chairman, is any of them part of these 6 top positions? Why are we deceiving ourselves? Why are we spinning ourselves as if we... No. So what is the position of the national chairman of the campaign? In fact, what they did is an aberration, because the national chairman, the major function of a national chairman of any political party is to manage the national campaign. Because when you start campaigning, you know what you do? When you get to any venue, who presents the candidate? Who gives him the flag of office to say, we are giving you this flag on behalf of our party? Who is the chief executive of the party? Is it Udom or are you? So why are we deceiving ourselves? Udom is appointed. What then? You are undermining the functions of the national chairman of the party.
Let me follow up on what you've said, Chief George. And I'd like to get your reaction to what the former vice president and the candidate of your party. Apologies, Chief George. I don't know if you can hear me. I'd like you to react to what Mr. Atiku Abubakar has said. Yeah. He said, look, the constitution of the party has slated how a national chairman can be removed. The body or the organ that can remove him was the one that also placed him, that gave him a vote of confidence. Now, and there are others who will say, if you remove a national chairman from the north, automatically, based on the constitution of your party, a northern deputy vice chairman of the party will take over from him. So it still leaves you with the agitation of a southern national chairman, except if you now go for a fresh national convention of your party. Can you do that? Can you risk that?
No. Now, let me try and educate the public on this issue. We are not talking about removing him or forcing him. He himself, Iyorchia Ayu, stated pointedly that peradventure, if the presidential candidate emerges from the north, I didn't say it, he said it publicly, that he will resign. So why is he sticking to the point? You know, the issue we are talking about is purely moral issue. It's a purely moral issue. Once we use that same moral issue to allow Atiku to compete, because President Buhari, is he from Anambra or is he from Lagos? He's from the northwest. He's from the north. He's on his 8th year. When he completes his term, now you have another northerner who will go on. Doesn't that affect the inclusivity, the sensitivity, and the balancing that the founding fathers envisaged for our party? So if he's talking purely on legal issues, no, that's not what we are saying. If we use the same moral compass to allow him to contest at that time, because he's from the north, he would have been zoned, because chairmanship had been zoned to the north, it means the presidential candidate must come from the opposite zone, which is the south. Now that you took up the ticket, Ayu himself stated completely that we should allow that once a presidential candidate emerges from the north, he himself will be too happy to resign. So why are we now playing some games? Why are we playing games? If we didn't do that at that time, would he have emerged? Would Atiku have emerged? No. If we are able to bend over backwards to achieve and close ranks, it's not a fixated thing that at least like a Berlin Wall. Even the Berlin Wall, at the final analysis, Did they not collapse it? So if we are asking, we're not talking on moral on the constitutional issue of are you coming or are you going. What we are saying is that on moral basis, because he himself stated that he would like to if the presidential candidate comes from the north, I will be too happy to resign.
Especially the way forward now that there is a statement of a boycott from your group, and what is the way forward and the solution for in all of these impasse in your party. Plus, when we return, we'll also be speaking with the ASU president, Professor Emmanuel Oshodeke, over the judgment of the National Industrial Court today, ordering the university lecturers to go back to classrooms. Will the university lecturers yield to that order? Would they be appealing the case? What is the next line of action of the university lecturers? Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Chief Bode Judge has been speaking with us. He's a member of the People's Democratic Party Board of Trustees, and he was one of those leaders of the PDP who met at Governor Yunson Wike's residence in Port Harcourt and announced a boycott of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council. Thank you so much, Chief Judge. Don't forget, everyone, I also have a national president of ASU in the studio here. As soon as we finish the conversation with Chief Judge, we'll be talking to him. Now, Chief Judge, quickly, a few questions before we wrap up with you. I look at it now. This boycott, I'm very certain, because you are leaders of the party, the implication is very dire should you decide to go that route. And it doesn't look like the presidential candidate of the party, based on his statement today, is yielding to that call. It doesn't look like he's backing down. In fact, he has doubled down on his call that if you want to remove him, it's either you ask him to step down by himself or go to the constitutional means of removing him from office. Have you considered deeply the implication of this boycott?
Implication of the boycott, because we believe that this party has a tripod, stands on a tripod. And you know, a three-legged body is a very stable platform. Justice, fairness, and equity. We wrapped them all up and called it all inclusivity. If you are members of an association and one group decides that he doesn't need you, then let him go and win. Let him go and win. What we are saying is not for Bode George, it's not for Wike, it's not for Jerry Ghana, it's not for Jonah Jank. We are talking about inclusivity, that the founding fathers found a system that will incorporate all Nigerians, all tribes of Nigeria. And you are telling us, you are now bringing up some legal issues, they will have to do this. Really, I can't believe this is what I'm hearing. What we decided yesterday, you know, 24 hours in politics is a very long time. But for you to tell us that it doesn't matter, the South doesn't matter, you have some friends in the South, if that is your attitude in managing this country, does that make sense? Does that make sense? A leader must be humble. A leader must respect the will of the people, because it is the vote of those people multiplied that will get you to the villa. Are you telling all the southern people they don't matter? No, that's not a right attitude. What is the ambition of one individual?
All right, Chief Judge.
Versus the ambition, the corporate ambition of our party. You are saying it doesn't concern you? No,
yeah. Now,
no, that's
let's
a wrong
look at
attitude.
it on a final note. Is
Very
the
wrong
way
attitude.
out? It does look like there is a breakdown in the reconciliation process between the team Wike and the team Atiku. What, as a leader of the party, if either Senator Ayu or Mr. Atiku Abubakar are not looking in the direction in which your demands have gone, what do you suppose will be the way out? Because for those of members of your party who says, if you boycott, your party might lose the coming election.
You know, let me be very frank. During the discussion last night, everybody still stated emphatically that they will remain PDP members, irredentist members, and they are not ready to go anywhere. We are sending a signal for them to do a rethink, because politics is not about like Berlin Wall. You listen, and the party interest superimposes all other private and personal interests. I am shocked that this will come out as a statement. The opposition will use it. The only good thing that I will tell you is that not one single dissenting voice raised an alarm that they were quitting the PDP. We will work for all those who had picked up our tickets. But when we are going to work, like he was doing and campaigning, like he went to Kano to get the support of people in Kano, I also want to go to the rostrum in Lagos and tell the people that the exacerbated division among tribes, we will be able to close up the ranks and revisit Nigeria. And as one of the issues raised by him, that is a unifier, where then is he unifying? If you have a little problem and all you are talking about is constitutionality, where is the issue of emotions, for God's sake? We are not leaving this party, but at the same time, justice, fairness, and equity, the tripod of the party, we will maintain it. And if we don't maintain it, the platform will start wobbling. Whatever be the outcome, the future generations and the historians will know who to blame. But I will plead with him that he should calm down, let us sit down, because there is no final touch yet. We are moving out. People have vetted their opinions on the composition of the council. And then finally, if you look at, they put Governor Akwa Ibom as the chairman of the national campaign, and they put the national chairman under him. Where is that done? Where?
All right,
Why
so George,
are you trying to reinvent a wheel?
Thank you so much indeed for your thought.
What is this?
We have to leave it at that. But I must sincerely thank you for your thought tonight, and I wish you, your party, the very best as the campaign begins in less than 10 days. Thank you so much indeed, Chief Olabode George, a member of the Board of Trustees of the main opposition party, PDP. Thank you so much indeed for talking to us tonight.